Taehyung turned around to face Jimin, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. He didn't trust the ice dragons. They were known to be cunning and deceitful, but Jimin was his brother, so he couldn't just outright ignore him. Taehyung, what are you doing here? He asked, his voice laced with a hint of hostility. Jimin chuckled, his breath misting in the cold air. Jimin, I heard you brought a fairy from Magic Land. Taehyung, that should not be your concern. Jimin, of course it is. You brought a fairy in my kingdom without even informing me. Taehyung, this is my kingdom. I am the Dragon King and this dragon world belongs to me. Jimin's smirk grew wider. Jimin, let's see how long you can hold the throne, saying that he come to his dragon form and fly outside with his heavy wings. Taehyung saw dozens of ice dragons are coming to attack them. His eyes widened in shock. The ice dragon is notorious for his thirst for power and his cruelty. If he managed to take over the Fire Kingdom, it would spell disaster for everyone living here. Blaze, come to him. Blaze, my king, the ice dragons are attacking. Taehyung, we need to warn the others, he said, his voice urgent. Blaze nodded, his expression grave. Blaze, I have already informed the Council of Elders. They are preparing for battle as we speak. Yn watched from her window, her heart pounding in fear. She had always known that the dragons' kingdoms were not entirely peaceful, but she had never thought that a war would break out between them. She felt a pang of guilt for enjoying the sight of the sky just moments ago, blissfully ignorant of the impending danger. As the sun began to set, the sky turned a fiery red, casting an eerie glow over the kingdom. The dragons of the Fire Kingdom flew overhead, their scales gleaming in the dying light. Yn could hear the sound of their wings beating against the wind, a sound that brought both fear and awe to her heart. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the kingdom, causing Yn to jump in alarm. She looked out of her window to see a big silver ice dragon is attacking a massive black dragon, his icy blue eyes burning with malice. Behind him, a horde of ice dragons followed, their breath freezing the air around them. Yn felt a surge of courage and determination well up inside her. She may be just a flower fairy, but she couldn't stand idly by while her friends and allies were in danger. Without a second thought, she flew out of her window and towards the battlefield. Taehyung and Jimin were in the thick of the battle, their flames and icy blasts clashing against each other. Yn flew towards them, a trail of flowers blooming in her wake. Taehyung, princess, what are you doing here? He shouted over the din of battle. Jimin, cute little flower, I see. So what are you going to do, small fairy? Yn, I may be small, but I will fight alongside the Dragon King. We will not let you an ice dragon, she said, her voice firm. Taehyung smiled gratefully at her, a flicker of hope in his eyes. Together, the two of them fought against the ice dragon and his army, their determination giving them strength. As the battle raged on, the skies above them began to darken. A storm was brewing, a fierce tempest that threatened to engulf them all. Lightning crackled in the sky, illuminating the chaos below. Yn felt fear gnaw at her heart, but she pushed it aside. She knew that she had to be strong, for the sake of her friends and the Dragon King. With renewed resolve, she summoned all of her powers as a flower fairy and unleashed a wave of magic that engulfed the ice dragon and his army in a shower of petals. The ice dragon screeched in rage and frustration, his power waning against the strength of Yn's magic. With a final burst of energy, Yn sealed the ice dragon and his army in a field of ice, trapping them in a frozen prison. The battle was won, but the cost was high. The Fire Kingdom lay in ruins, its once majestic buildings reduced to smoldering rubble. But amidst the destruction, a sense of peace and unity prevailed. Yn looked at the sky once more, but this time her smile was one of pride and triumph. She had proven that even the smallest among them could make a difference, and that together, they were unstoppable. Taehyung walked near Yn and sit on his both knees in front of her. Yn, are you going to propose me now? You should sit on your one knee to propose, not both, but it's okay, it's a yes for me, she said, cupping her both cheeks. She moved her gaze from Taehyung and noticed all the dragons are sitting on their knees in front of her. She gulped. Y or N? I may be beautiful and kind, but I can't possibly marry all of you. She heard a soft chuckle from Taehyung. Taehyung, foolish fairy, we are not proposing to you. We are showing you our respect for the battles you have fought and won for us. Y or N? Oh, I thought something else. Taehyung, you think too much. He stands straight. Y or N looked down feeling embarrassed. The aftermath of the battle was a somber affair. The Dragon King Taehyung stood amidst the wreckage of his kingdom, his heart heavy with the weight of the destruction. Yn could see the pain and sadness etched on his face, and her heart ached for him. She knew that rebuilding the Fire Kingdom would be a long and arduous task, but she also knew that they would do it together. As the days passed, the Fire Kingdom began to rise from the ashes, much like a phoenix reborn. The dragons worked tirelessly to rebuild their homes and restore their kingdom to its former glory. Yn used her magic to help heal the land and bring life back to the scorched earth. The Council of Elders worked to establish new alliances and strengthen their defenses, determined to prevent another attack from the ice dragons. This makes the Dragon King and the Flower Fairy more close. Yn saw Taehyung walking with the commoners to rebuild their houses even though he's the king here. Yn, I don't understand why you call him cruel and dangerous. He's so sweet, she said looking at Taehyung afar who's working with the folks. Atara laughed hearing her. Atara, sweet? You're saying this because you didn't see his temper. Yn, I believe I did see it. Atara, no, you didn't. The little bit of anger he showed you was just a sprinkle compared to the storm he could unleash. But tell me, dear Flower Fairy, what kind of enchanting magic did you cast on our king? Yn look at Atara and blink her eyes multiple times in confusion. Yn, me. I didn't do any magic on him. It's your king who cast love spell on me. Taehyung glared at Blaze, who was sitting in the corner enjoying some sweets. He cleared his throat to get Blaze's attention, but Blaze was too focused on his treats to notice. Taehyung, Blaze. He called him with a dangerous, angry tone, but his voice didn't reach till the giant dragon's ear. Taehyung exhaled, and small flames of anger come out from his nose. He didn't think twice before burning his most powerful warrior's pretty butt with his fire. Blaze jumped up and looked back only to see the king himself is standing behind him. He quickly looked down in fear. Taehyung, you know I hate when my warriors take rest while my peoples are working. Blaze, I was working my king, but the Flower Fairy made me some sweets and said, Mr. Big Guy, you deserve a treat for your hard work. Taehyung, the Flower Princess. Blaze, yes, she's so sweet and kind. She think about us a lot. My king, she will be the perfect queen for us. Taehyung raised an eyebrow. Taehyung, queen and that little fairy? Not a chance. She's not the one for me. Taehyung, she's like a baby, so childish. Always wants to play. You see her playing with the kids here, right? She doesn't even grow up. You know, that day she asked me, the Dragon King, to play hide and seek with her. I never heard any funny thing like this before. Taehyung, baby fairy can never be the Dragon Queen. He was talking with a proud smirk on his face, but suddenly the smell of fresh flowers hit his nose. He looked at Blaze, whose face is pale and he's looking behind him. Taehyung gulped as he felt her presence. He slowly looked back and saw Yn is standing just behind him. Her big eyelashes are wet. Salty water is falling from her both eyes and nose. He understood she heard everything. Taehyung, princess. Yn, you're so awful. I can stand you, she said and fly away from there. Taehyung looked back at Blaze. Taehyung, could you have given me a heads up that she was there? He followed Yn after giving a last glare to Blaze. Yn soared to the mountain's peak and plopped down, puffing her cheeks like a cheeky little chipmunk. Taehyung, come and sit next to her. Yn turned her head away like a dramatic starlet. Taehyung, hey, I know you're a bit of a goofball, but I really shouldn't spill all these truths. Yn, I thought you come here to apologize, but you're still making fun of me. You're the rudest dragon I've ever seen. Taehyung, listen, I don't know how to make fun. I'm just telling the truth. YN's whole body turned red in anger. Though she's not a fire dragon, but Taehyung could see smoke coming out from her nose and ear. Y or N? I hate you. Taehyung, alright, I sincerely apologize for my words. Y or N? I would appreciate it if you could make it up to me. Taehyung, what do you want as peace offering? Y or N? You have to play hide and seek with me. To the surprise of both, a soft laugh slipped from Taehyung's throat. He shook his head, fighting back a full-blown chuckle. Taehyung, hide and seek. Alright then, hide, I will seek you. As they played their first game of hide and seek, Y or N hid behind a giant boulder. Taehyung counted to 100, but when he turned to find her, she had disappeared. Taehyung, princess, he called out, growing a little worried. Taehyung, this is not funny. Suddenly, Y or N popped up from behind him, wearing a crown of leaves and flowers. Y or N? Surprise. I've always been here, she giggled. The Dragon King couldn't hide his amusement any longer. Taehyung, you little trickster, he said, shaking his head. You really think you can win my heart with your silly games? Y or N? I don't just think so, I know so. You can't resist my charm. She grinned. He chuckled again, feeling a strange warmth in his heart. Though he was a fierce Dragon King, Yin's laughter and spirit melted away his worries. Slowly, he began to realize that perhaps he did enjoy her company more than he dared to admit. Days turned into weeks, and the two became inseparable. Yn brought him gifts of flowers, cooked him meals of sweet nectar, and filled his kingdom with sunlight and laughter. She bothered him with endless stories, shared secrets of the forest, and even tried to teach him how to dance among the flowers. To her delight, Taehyung often found himself chuckling at her antics, though he would never admit it. She taught him about flowers and laughter, and in return, he shared stories of the sky and adventure, reminding her that sometimes it was important to be brave, though she already is. The sky of the kingdom is more blue than red now. One starry night, as they sat on the mountains watching shooting stars, Taehyung turned to Yn. Taehyung, princess, you are the most unexpected companion. I never thought a little flower fairy would make me so happy. Yn, and you are the most magnificent Dragon King. My heart knew you were my true love all along. She beamed. Taehyung smiled warmly, realizing that the cute flower fairy could bring light to even the darkest of mountains of Black Peak. But their moment ruins by the arrival of Blaze. He bowed in front of them and spoke. Blaze, my king, we found about Queen Mother. Taehyung, where's she? Blaze, the wizard's captive her. Taehyung's eyes turned red in a blink. He stood straight and ordered in a deep voice. Taehyung, prepare for the war. We're leaving right now. Blaze nodded his head. Yn sensed anger in Taehyung's voice and eyes with mixture of worry. She understood. Something very serious happens. After that, everything happens very quickly. The air become filled with tensions. Yn saw hundreds of fire dragon warriors are preparing for the war. And not only the fire dragons, hundreds of thunder dragons and water dragons are come to join their forces with the fire dragons. Scared Flower Fairy understood this is going to be a big war. Since wars are quite rare in the fairy world, Yn is not accustomed to such situations. She feels like crying. She looked at Atara, who's also tense like everyone else. Yn, what is happening? Atara, the wizards got Mother Queen. Yn, but wizards are good. Atara, maybe for fairies, but for dragons wizards are the biggest enemy. Yn, why? Atara, wizards wish to turn us into their slaves. For ages, they've captured countless dragons and subjected them to terrible fates. Our dear Mother Queen, the beloved matriarch of the dragon realm, has been taken by them. Does that help clarify the situation? Yn nodded her head, understanding the worry and fear of the dragons. Taehyung take his sword in his hand. His sharp eyes reflected in the sword named Dark Fire. It's not an ordinary sword. It's the Dragon King's sword. It's not only the sharpest weapon in this world, but it can also produce flame. It's magical. Jimin, Dark Fire deserved to be mine, but father give it to you. Taehyung looked back at Jimin. Taehyung, you dared to step here again. Jimin, this place belongs to me after all. Taehyung, I don't want to argue with you now. I have to save my mother. Jimin, I also didn't come here to fight with you. Me and my ice warriors are here to join the war. Taehyung, I can save my mother by my own. Jimin, she's also my mother. Taehyung was about to say something when Blaze arrived. Blaze, my king, the warriors are ready. Taehyung nodded and turned to Jimin. Taehyung, you better not mess with me there. Jimin, don't worry brother, right now saving Mother Queen is my only priority. Y or N look at the huge force of dragons who are ready to fight the big battle. She heard wizards are very powerful. They didn't think twice before killing dragons. She look at Taehyung who come out from the castle. Her eyes become teary. She run to him and hold his hand. Y or N, I want to come along. Taehyung, I know you're very strong little princess, but this battle is between dragons and wizards. I don't want my little fairy to hurt herself there. He gave her a small smile and cupped her cheeks. He pecked her forehead and said, Taehyung, I will be back, before leaving for the wizard world to fight a big battle. Y or N look at their way. The other dragons are wishing them goodbye. Some are praying for their king and warriors. Yn's tears started falling. Atara, come beside her and hold her shoulder. Atara, did you know that dragons give a sweet kiss to their life partner's forehead before heading off to battle? So when the king kissed your head, it meant he sees you as his special someone. Atara said, but her words couldn't make Y or N happy. The fear and worry is too much inside her that it couldn't build the happiness.